Hello, DIY Dad here. But who is the DIY Dad? Well, we're going to go on a short history of my life, just so you can understand who I am. I was born in a place called Aylesbury, which is sort of Buckinghamshire, and brought up in a small place called Leighton Buzzard, which most people know is a transit hub, strangely, for lorries. And I did tree surgery for many years. I was self-employed and employed down there. Then I decided to go to university. I did forestry, went to an agricultural college called Sparsholt College in Hampshire, and did lowland forestry management. Then I went back into tree surgery for about 8 years. From going back, I went back home to do that. After that, I decided that I'd had enough of that where I lived. I wanted a change. So then I moved all the way up to Cumbria, which is where I am now, and topped up my H&D to a degree in forestry management. Then I just stayed around here. I did all kinds of jobs. I worked as a really hard job as a timber cutter. So basically you use a saw to cut trees down in front of harvesters and on piecework. Cutting certain specs for certain prices. It's probably one of the hardest jobs in the UK. It's exhausting, and you make almost no money. I worked in peat bog restoration, so driving machinery and managing sites on peat bogs, which is probably that is an incredibly difficult job because everything's always sunk in the peat. It's basically a recovery, off-road recovery job is what it is. After that, I went back into forestry and worked over in Yorkshire for a bit. And then my first daughter was born. And at that point, I was like, I probably need to have a more stable job. So I ended up working for a hydraulics company. And I was a sales manager at a hydraulics company. I learned hydraulics. I did big compressors for milking parlours and all kinds of technical stuff for food companies. Many different things for that company. And I was there for 7 years. Actually, I enjoyed it there. And then I got the hankering to go back into forestry again, which is nuts because I was earning a lot more doing, the job I was doing than I was going to make doing forestry. So I've never been in this for money. So then I went back into forestry and I did that for another 2 or 3 years, which brings me to now, where while I was away, I was staying away in a caravan in the South Lakes and living while my wife and kids were living in the North Lakes in the house that we were paying for. And we thought, this is no life. We want to be together as a family. And sort of slightly previously to this, I'd found out that, I was ADHD and probably slightly autistic. And my daughter was also ADHD and slightly autistic. And we were struggling with her. And I wasn't there. So we thought, we tried to look at all the scenarios of what we could do. And we were like, I don't know. And in the end, we were like, should we just do something insane? Should we just sell everything we own and just go as a family? And the answer was yes. So we decided to do that. And that we're currently undergoing that now. I've given up work and the house has just sold. And we're going to do that now. Yeah, as soon as the house is sold, we're off. And I've got other videos on how we came to that sort of conclusion. But basically, that's who I am. And in the time that I've worked, I've done so many repairs on things. And we've owned 3 or 4 houses, which I've done a lot of work to. And I've repaired giant forestry machinery. And I've fixed my own stuff. And I fix all my own cars. So everything DIY. DIY is not just, I'll fix something in the house. DIY is fixing every single thing in your life, from vehicles to home DIY to stuff at work to stuff for other people. It's making things that are better than you can buy from shops because they last longer. Make your own machinery. I've built my own little car compressor and things like that, which work a million times better than general manufactured things. So it's about being inventive as well. So inventiveness, a drive to want to make things. That's what I'm like. So that's basically who I am.